Shalom, I'm Rabbi Stephen Sachs. Why did God appear to Moshe in the form of a burning bush? The classical reason is given by Philo of Alexandria, the great Jewish philosopher. He explains that the bush is the symbol of the Jewish people, oppressed, small, weak, but never consumed, and ultimately victorious. That's very nice, but let me share another reason with you. Perhaps God did not want to scare Moshe. If he had come to Moshe as he later came to Israel when they stood at Mount Sinai, Moshe would have been afraid. If you remember when the Israelites stand at Sinai, they say to Moshe, "Please, make him stop, he's overwhelming us, you go up." At that point, Moshe was not afraid to go up to Sinai because he had spoken to God several times. But at this point, this was the first time God had spoken to him. In fact, God hadn't spoken to any Israelite since the time of Joseph. So God is teaching us a very simple lesson. Even though at times when we communicate with people, we have the power, the ability to overwhelm them, we don't necessarily want to overwhelm them. If we overwhelm them, we'll scare them. They're not going to hear us. I'll give you an example. I could say this to you. I want you to come to the minyan during the week to help make out the minyan. Is that message going to make you want to come to the minyan to help make up the minyan? Probably not. You're going to say, "Stop yelling at me, I don't want to hear this," and walk away. May even really scare you and run away. But if I say to you, folks, we really need help making up the minyan. We have some guys saying Kaddish here, and if you could help us, it would really be appreciated. We are counting on you. That's a message you're probably going to be much more receptive to, much more open to. But that message doesn't only apply to divinity or manners of divinity, godliness, religion for that matter. Earlier this week, I was listening to National Public Radio, and they had a segment on parents speaking to their children about the birds and the bees. They made the point on NPR that often the first time parents bring up the conversation is in the midst of a fight. They learn that their sweet little angel is doing things they would never have expected them to do. And they start screaming at their kids, "You should be abstinent, or at least you should be more selective, or practice safe sex." But the kids do not listen to the message because they're being yelled at. People don't like being yelled at, and secondly, the parents may actually be intimidating the children. It may be hard for you who have teenagers to believe you can intimidate your children, but if you come yelling and screaming at your children, even though they might not even show the intimidation, you may be intimidating them. Regardless, it is not good communication. So what should you do? Just like God did at the burning bush, make yourself small, humble. Sit down calmly and speak to them. And yes, this can be a very awkward conversation. So before you have a conversation, do some research, speak to experts in the field. Go online. There's plenty of ways you could prepare yourself for a conversation like this. Make sure you are as comfortable as you're going to be, and then speak to them. And then you could have some good, open communication. Furthermore, it was pointed out on NPR that children or teenagers that feel that they have something to look forward to in the future are much more likely to make good decisions regarding their sexual behavior, whether that means abstinence or at least being selective and engaging in safe sex. Kids who are able to speak to their parents, who feel like their parents are going to speak to them about those difficult, awkward issues and try to work with them, are more likely to feel like they have something to look forward to in the future. Let me give you an example. I had a friend in high school, and his parents were brutal with him. He came home and didn't do well on a test. They would yell and scream and carry on. Really just mean, quite honestly. So then he went to college. He went to college, did not do well his first semester. So what did he do? Instead of going home and telling his parents what was going on, seeking their advice, maybe seeing if they would help him find a tutor, pay for a tutor, he generated a false transcript showing he was on Dean's list. So his parents were very proud. Went back the second semester. Once again, was having trouble, did not do well. Once again, generated a fake transcript, showed it to his parents, and said, "Wow, this is great. Our son did such a great job his first year of college." Only one problem. A couple weeks later, he got a letter from the college saying that he had flunked out, wasn't welcome back. So then he had to tell his parents the truth, that he would not be returning to college. And up until this day, my age by the way, 35 years old, a year older than me actually, 36 years old, but up until this day, he has not graduated college. If his parents hadn't been so difficult, hadn't been so hard on him, had spoken calmly to him, and opened up good communications with him when he was living at home, when he was in high school, he would have felt comfortable speaking to his parents saying, "Mom, Dad, I could use some help, I could use your advice, let's talk about the situation." But he did not feel that way. He lied to them and wound up hurting himself. And no parent wants their child to hurt his or herself. Let me give you one more example. And I want to show how this does not only pertain to parent-child relationships, this pertains to communication in general. During the transition, when Rabbi Dresden was leaving and I was taking over as the rabbi, he took me over to ShopRite. He was showing me around, showing me what the VOD does to supervise ShopRite. And he explained to me if someone from ShopRite or one of the other organizations in which we supervise calls me up, approaches me and said that they had made some sort of mistake, you don't chew them out, you don't ream them out. Because what will happen? The next time they make a mistake, they're not going to tell you, they're not going to come to you and say, "How can we fix this?" They're going to try to hide it. And then the problem will only get worse and worse and worse. You want people to feel comfortable approaching you when something isn't right, when there's a difficult situation, and being able to talk about it together in order to resolve the issue. So in conclusion, the message is very simple. We do not want to engage in intimidation. We want to engage in good communication.